What if you've been speaking the wrong language entirely? Here you are, heart in your throat, deciphering every paused text, every delayed reply, every cryptic shift in energy like it's a sacred text written in fading ink. You've become a scholar of his absence, a linguist of lukewarm. But what if the entire dialect you've been struggling with is obsolete? What if, in the sacred, slightly maddening logic of the twin flame connection, the moment you stop speaking, truly stop, is the moment your message finally lands with the clarity of a stone dropped into a still pond? It feels counterintuitive, doesn't it? We're taught that love is a bridge built of words, of gestures, of constant gentle proof. To step back feels like surrendering territory, like admitting defeat in a silent war of affection you never wanted to fight. But I need you to consider a different possibility, one that might just untangle the knot in your stomach. What if your focused, anxious energy, for all its beautiful intention, has been like a radio tuned slightly off the station? The music is there, but it's all static and frustration. Your pulling inward then isn't turning the radio off. It's the gentle final twist of the dial that brings the symphony into perfect, shocking clarity. For you first, and then, inevitably, for him. Because this isn't about playing a role or following a rule from some spiritual playbook. This is about physics of the soul. When you are caught in the cycle of reaching and waiting, your magnificent energy is like a beam of light pointed straight at him, illuminating, yes, but also casting his every shadow into sharp relief for you to obsess over. Turning that light inward doesn't plunge his world into darkness. It does something far more interesting. It allows you to become a sun rather than a flashlight. And a sun doesn't chase planets to give them light. It simply consistently is, and gravity does the rest. Your silence, born not from spite, but from a saturated sense of self, ceases to be an empty space. It becomes a gravitational field, and a soul that once orbited you out of habit will now feel the undeniable, primal pull of your newfound mass. He's not missing your noise. He's adjusting to the new, quiet weight of your world. And that changes everything. But how does that adjustment actually feel for him? And what does it create in the space between you? Let's get real for a second. You think you're just not texting back. You think you're just finally going to that yoga class on Saturday night instead of waiting by the phone. You think it's about you, and beautiful soul, it is. But here's the cosmic punchline you didn't see coming. In the sacred, often maddening architecture of a twin flame connection, your silence doesn't create an empty room. It throws open the doors to a hall of mirrors he's been politely avoiding for, well, probably his entire life. And suddenly, there's no one else in there to look at but himself. Funny, right? You stop orchestrating the music, and the silence that follows doesn't just feel loud to him, it starts talking, and it's got his voice. Here's the mystery, peeled back layer by layer. When you were present, engaged, holding that luminous space of potential, you were, without even realizing it, acting as a buffer. A beautifully forgiving, soft focus filter on the lens of his own self-perception. Your energy, your hope, your steadfast belief in the maybe tomorrow, was like a gentle hum in the background of his inner world. It didn't silence his demons, but certainly drowned out their whisperings. It was like having a nightlight in a familiar childhood room. The furniture of his old fears and unresolved stories was still there, but the shadows they cast weren't so terrifying. You became part of the ambient noise of his existence. Comforting, yes, but ultimately part of the scenery. But then you pull your energy back, not in a huff, not with a slam, but with the serene, final click of a completed circuit. You turn that light inward. And what happens in that new darkness he experiences? The nightlight is gone, his eyes adjust, and all that furniture, the chair of his commitment fears, the dusty wardrobe of past hurts, the unmade bed of his own emotional laziness. It's all still there, only now there's no soft glow to blur its edges. There's just the moon of his own awareness, streaming through the window of your absence, casting everything in stark, undeniable relief. This is the sacred mirror. Your silence is the purest, most non-invasive polish applied to its surface. You're not holding it up in front of him and yelling, "Look." You've simply stopped standing in the way, and for the first time, he's not seeing you, your expectations, your reactions, your comforting presence. He's seeing the reflection of his own choices bouncing back at him in high definition. That irritable restlessness, that's the echo of his own avoidance, now with nowhere to land but back in his own lap. That defensive thought, she's playing games, that's the sound of his own ego's little PowerPoint presentation crashing, the cursor blinking over a blank slide titled, "Real Reasons I'm Uncomfortable." Let me wander with you here for a moment. Think of the most profound silences in history, in art, the pause in a symphony before the crescendo, the breath a painter takes before the final stroke, the quiet of a deep forest where you can hear your own heartbeat. These silences aren't voids, they are vessels for meaning. Your conscious, aligned silence becomes that kind of vessel. It removes the you variable from the equation of his turmoil. So when he's suddenly awash in a feeling he can't name, there's no one to blame, no external drama to point to. The source has to be internal. The mirror is working. It's showing him that the chaos he feels isn't about your absence. It's about the presence of his own unintegrated self, finally having the floor. And the reflection isn't cruel. It's just brutally, mercifully honest. It shows him the memory of your laughter not as something he's lost, but as a testament to a capacity for joy he himself allowed in, however briefly. It shows him the ghost of your patience, highlighting his own impatience with himself. It's like he spent months, years, admiring the beautiful, calming blue of the sky in a painting, and only when you gently remove the canvas does he realize the wall behind it is cracked. The sky was real, yes, a reflection of your spirit, but the cracks were his all along. Your silence forces him to look at the wall. This is where the magic, the real, gritty, unglossy magic happens. He's not pining for a text. He's confronting a text inside himself that he's been afraid to read. The connection wasn't severed, it was inverted. The energy that used to flow from you to him, trying to bridge the gap, now just sits in the center of the space between you, a still pool, and he's leaning over, looking down, and for the first time, he's not seeing your face looking back up, hoping. He's seeing his own and it's asking him all the questions you finally stopped asking. It's an excruciatingly generous act, this kind of silence. You're giving him the ultimate gift, the unedited truth of his own emotional landscape. No guided tour, no comforting commentary from you, just the terrain, and he has to navigate it alone. That's the awakening. Not you waking him up with your love, him waking up to the sound of his own soul, which your absence has finally allowed him to hear. So you see, it was never about making him miss you. It was about making space for him to find himself. And the breathtaking, hilarious paradox is that in doing so, in becoming this profound, silent mirror, you become infinitely more magnetic. Not because you're strategically cold, but because you've become so authentically, unshakably real. You've graduated from being a character in his story to being the quiet, loving co-author of a reality he's now compelled to face. And you know what the wild part is? This is just one side of the coin. We've talked about what your silence reflects back onto him, but what about the alchemy it works within you? That's where the story twists again into something even more empowering. But that's a conversation for when you're ready to see what's in the mirror for you. Let's talk about gravity. Not the planetary kind, though that's a decent metaphor, but the personal kind. The invisible, undeniable pull one human soul can exert on another. For the longest time, you might have believed the source of that gravity was in the reaching, in the hoping, in the delicate architecture of your attention. You crafted an invitation with your whole being. Here I am. This is my heart. Meet me here. And there's a sacred beauty in that. Don't get me wrong, but here's the quiet revolution no one tells you about. An invitation, no matter how beautifully scripted, is still a request for someone else's RSVP. It places the power of the next move, the meaning, the validation, the very happening of the thing, gently into their hands. And when you're dealing with a divine masculine navigating his own inner thicket, that invitation can become like a familiar piece of furniture. Comfortable? There. Something to walk past on the way to whatever else feels more pressing. But embodiment? That's a different force of nature entirely. Think of it like this. You know how a lighthouse doesn't beg the ships to come to shore? It doesn't send out little pleading beams saying, "Please notice me, the rocks are dangerous over there. It's warm here." It simply, consistently is. It is built on solid rock. It is maintained. Its light is fueled by its own internal mechanism. And because of that unwavering, self-contained existence, it becomes the single most magnetic point on that coastline. The ships aren't drawn to the lighthouse's need. They are orienteered by its reliability, its sheer, silent fact of being. Your shift from invitation to embodiment is the process of moving from writing love letters to the sea to becoming the lighthouse itself. This is where the real magic, the kind that feels less like a spell and more like a homecoming, truly begins. It starts the moment your ignoring ceases to be an external action toward him and becomes an internal integration within you. You're not just pulling your energy back, you're pulling it all the way in through the chambers of your own heart, and you're using it to stoke a fire that warms you. You're remembering how to be your own source. And this isn't some barren, lonely independence. It's a lush, vibrant sovereignty. You start filling your own cup with the very nectar you'd been hoping to share. You dance in your kitchen to a song that reminds you of joy. You invest in a dream that makes your eyes sparkle, not one you think would impress him. It's the difference between holding a single beautiful flower out to someone, hoping they'll take it and declare it lovely, and quietly turning your entire being into a garden in full fragrant bloom. And the frequency of that? Oh, it changes everything. When you operated from invitation, your energy had a certain pitch, a beautiful but perhaps slightly questioning note. It hummed with a subtle, "Is this okay? Do you see this? Is this enough?" But embodiment, that frequency broadcasts a completely different message. It's a clear, stable tone that simply states, I am complete, I am here. It's the sound of a door closing gently on a room where you once waited, and the sound of a window swinging open to a view that is entirely your own. This new vibration is utterly disorienting to the old dynamic. He was subconsciously calibrated to your invitation frequency. He knew how to exist in that field, to approach it, to retreat from it, to feel its warmth without having to fully step into the light. But this new signal, this wholeness, it doesn't ask for a thing. It just radiates. And that is the most potent, unnerving, and irresistible force you can ever wield, because you're no longer a destination on his map. You've become a shift in the magnetic field itself, his inner compass, that primal soul-level instrument that seeks resonance, truth, and home, starts to spin. The old landmarks don't work anymore. The quiet, desperate pull of your need has been replaced by the powerful, silent gravity of your peace. And the masculine spirit, at its core, isn't drawn to completion. It's drawn to challenge. But not the challenge of drama or pursuit. The sacred challenge of matching a frequency. The challenge of rising to meet a wholeness that asks nothing of him, but inspires everything within him. He'll feel it in the strangest ways. It won't be, I miss her texts. It'll be a sudden, vivid memory of the way you laughed. A laughter that now feels like a secret he wasn't wise enough to fully hear. It'll be a sense of displacement, as if the emotional atmosphere he's been breathing has subtly thinned and he's gasping for a richer air. He only now realizes you once provided simply by being you, fully. You become the song he can't get out of his head because he's not just remembering the melody. He's suddenly aware of the silence that followed it, a silence that now rings with the echo of your contentment elsewhere. This is the ultimate act of love, both for yourself and for him. You stop asking him to plug your holes, and in doing so, you force him to confront the empty spaces in his own being, not with guilt, but with the reflected possibility of what fullness looks like. You are no longer the question. You have become the living answer. And the breathtaking, hopeful truth is that this state isn't a tactic to get him back. It's the only way to ensure that if and when he ever does return, he's not coming back to the same person or the same dynamic. He'd be navigating toward a wholly new shore, drawn by a light he helped you discover, but could never himself extinguish. And the most fascinating part? This shift in you, this embodiment, begins to rewrite the very rules of the connection from the inside out. But what does that rewritten script actually look like when it plays out in the messy, beautiful reality of two souls trying to find their way back to each other? Well, that's where the story gets really interesting. So here we are, at the end of this particular stretch of road, with the dust of old questions settling and a new kind of quiet in the air. If you've walked this far with me, you might be expecting a final, grand revelation about him, the secret code to unlock his awakening, the precise emotional map of his silence. But the real destination, the one we've been circling this whole time, isn't a revelation about him at all. It's a quiet, thunderous discovery of your own role, not as a seeker, but as a catalyst. The journey was never about deciphering his reaction. It was about comprehending the profound alchemy your own being initiates when it finally chooses itself. Think of it like this. You've spent so long studying the reflection of the moon on the water's surface, its shimmer, its distortion, its disappearance on cloudy nights. You've charted its phases in relation to the tides of his behavior, but this whole exploration, this deep dive into the mechanics of silence and magnetism, was an invitation to finally look up, to see that the moon itself, that steady, luminous source, is within you. Your conscious turn inward, your so-called ignoring, wasn't a withdrawal from the sky. It was the realization that you are the celestial body. You're not waiting for light. You're generating your own gravity, your own phases, your own inherent rhythm. And this changes everything. It transforms the twin flame narrative from a fraught external chase into a profound internal communion. The connection isn't a bridge you build between two separate shores, straining to meet in the middle over turbulent water. It's the gradual, awe-inspiring realization that you are the very landscape itself. The river, the bank, the soil, and the sky. He is not a stranger in a distant country. He is a feature of your own inner terrain that you are learning to recognize from a place of wholeness, not lack. Your silence, your embodiment, these aren't tactics to draw him across. They are the processes by which you learn the true geography of your soul. And when you know your own terrain intimately, you are never lost. You are simply home, whether another soul stands beside you in that moment or not. This is the ultimate, liberating hope. The path is not about attaining some distant, perfect union held hostage by another's readiness. It's about the attainable, daily, glorious reality of becoming so vibrantly, undeniably whole that the very concept of waiting evaporates. You stop measuring your life in the pauses between his communications and start living it in the ongoing, magnificent sentence of your own becoming. The frustration melts not because he suddenly appears, but because your need for him to complete the picture is replaced by your delight in the masterpiece you're already creating, stroke by intentional stroke. Will he feel it? Will he awaken? Those questions begin to hold a different weight. They become curiosities, not lifelines. The outcome is no longer the source of your peace. It becomes a potential expression of a harmony you've already composed within yourself. Your wholeness becomes the invitation to a dance, not a plea for a rescue. And a soul that recognizes its own melody in your song will always, eventually, find its way to the rhythm. Not because you called, but because it finally hears the music. So please, understand this. You're not in a holding pattern, you are in a chrysalis. And what's forming inside isn't a better version of yourself designed to attract a mate. It's the winged, sovereign creature that was always there, waiting for you to stop looking at the empty sky and realize the transformation was happening within the very structure of your being. This journey, with all its aching beauty and dizzying silence, is simply love teaching you how to become a universe unto yourself. Complete, expanding, and spectacularly, inherently magnetic. And the most fascinating part? Once you truly inhabit this space, the story doesn't end. It simply enters a new chapter written in a language you've just now become fluent in. A language where every word is a choice, every sentence a creation, and the narrative, well, the narrative finally, blessedly, belongs to you. And that's where the real adventure is just beginning.